Opinions and stories around the game we love, told by your favorite storytellers. Stay up to date with all things cricket. Subscribe to Cricbuzz's YouTube channel and press that bell icon now.
It's Gujarat. They are genuinely flying high. They're genuinely on the top of the table. It is going to take a lot of bizarre mathematics to see them not qualifying. They take on Punjab, who will need 2 points. And this is the time when we'll need to have results going against the grain. Gujarat against Punjab. This is from Navi Mumbai, the DY Patil Stadium. Joy, I'll come straight to you on this one. For Punjab, who have sort of blown hot and cold, not for the first time in their lives, this is the time to blow hot. It's hot enough in Mumbai. They just need to absorb the heat and take it out in Gujarat.
Yeah, Punjab needs to just find some way to win, because this year they have an explosive squad. They've got some 200 top. They've looked really impressive up front. They've lost a few games they shouldn't have lost, and now they're in a situation where they're again fighting for survival. And this is exactly what we call the Punjab conundrum. Somehow they find themselves in a position that they're going to lose again. They lost the last match against Lucknow by 20 runs, and 154 they were chasing, and they were just stuck up out there and they couldn't make it across the line. And that too with a very, very explosive batting lineup. They're sitting in a situation where they've Shah Rukh Khan has been dropped. They've got other players playing out there. They don't look completely settled out there, but given what Kolkata is doing, given the other moves in the table, they need a win desperately. They really need to win.
It's unique things for every team. I mean, every team has different kinds of problems. I mean, even Gujarat has problems, but their only problem is that even when they try to lose, they end up winning. But for Punjab, Pommie, where do you think the problem lies at the moment? Because they haven't really gone on a big losing streak, but it's sort of been the roller coaster. WL, that's the kind of form they've had.
Yeah, first world problems for Gujarat and some others, but for Punjab, my thinking is that a crisis in confidence and a kind of in a quandary because of a sort of a hesitancy with regard to what approach they should use. Right at the start of the tournament, you looked at their side. Didn't matter who it was. You looked at it and you thought, power. You thought these guys are going to whack anyone out the park and it's going to be about power. That's what their side's going to be. And they started off in that fashion and would play that way. But then lost wickets. And in losing wickets and losing their ways and then losing games, have kind of tried to go the same way a couple of times. And with it happening kind of one after the other, have then gone back and thought, maybe that's not the way we should be going. Should we kind of throttle back a little bit and kind of see where we get to? The throttling back hasn't really been throttling back. It's almost been a sort of go back into their shell. So from one extreme to the other and not really being in the middle. And where they've sort of come to the middle, it hasn't quite been enough because there are players in their lineup who are explosive, who can whack boundaries, who then haven't got enough deliveries to face. And so have ended up kind of coming in and playing cameos, but leaving them with kind of middling scores rather than this thing that they had in their minds that they could bat teams out of a game. So to be at this point and still kind of trying to work that out, I think it's quite difficult. What to do? That's the question. Do they, with the way things stand now and with it a scenario that says, look, you lose now, you're not leaving yourself much of a chance. Perhaps backs against the wall. You know what? We think this is our approach. We back this approach and we're going to go down playing our way, which is to be ultra aggressive. Whatever happens, happens. Perhaps that's the way they'll go. And if they do, who knows? Perhaps they're going to run.
All right, so let's just wrap up our little Punjab segment by suggesting, do they need to do anything with their personnel? We know with a few other teams, it's about up and down. With some teams, it's about in and out, who's in, who's out. With Punjab, I don't think it's really in and out anymore because the 11 Joy seems to be fairly settled. It's just about maybe a Johnny Bairstow. I mean, he's class, but I'm feeling he's feeling a little left out even at number 3.
Yeah, look, I'm telling you, they just need to, somebody needs to dash earlier. Their big problem is Mayank Agarwal is just not getting runs. He's a captain, he's not getting runs. Even when he's getting start, he's not able to convert, then he's getting bogged down. Perhaps he gives himself up and says that Bairstow go up with Shikhar Dhawan and he bats at 3. I think they have to do some adjustment there because they have enough power in the top 6. And here's my problem: they need to tell themselves that their best bet is to smash teams in the next 3-4 matches. Because once the ball starts turning and it gets lower and slower, this is a batting heavy team. This is never, it's got Rabada, it's got Chahar, but this is not a great bowling team. This is a batting team. As Pommie said, they bat teams out of matches, and they just need to capitalize on whatever time they have now to do that. And I think they just need to, I would just move Bairstow in, put Mayank Agarwal at 3 and said, let's take our chances with this.
Yeah, Pommie, no better time than, they're not quite as Livingston-centric as maybe Rajasthan were Butler-centric, but not too far away either. So you've got Shikhar Dhawan, Mayank Agarwal, Johnny Bairstow, Bhanuka Rajapaksa, all of them contributing. Jitesh Sharma's been batting well. But yet it seems to be, not necessarily the runs. There just seems to be a mental thing that, okay, we have Livingston, when's he coming in? What's he going to do? There's an obsession with him, isn't there?
Not really. I don't think so. We might obsess. So we might, because we know he just hit 6s. But if you look through that order, Mayank Agarwal bats at a fair clip. Johnny Bairstow bats at a fair clip. Shikhar Dhawan bats at a fair clip. Jitesh Sharma, you could even, Bhanuka Rajapaksa whacks it for Sri Lanka. So it's not, I don't think it's a question of Livingston centric. I think it's more an issue of, they need to fully go out. As Joy says, with them being batting heavy, they can't afford for anyone to be batting as if there aren't any batters to come. And so, despite the failures, I think they still must go all out. And going all out is not recklessness, but it's aggression, which we know they have in their game. And yes, it can be ultra aggressive, but they need to be, because all of them kind of play that way. And they might end up 117 all out. I don't know why I pick 117. It's a paltry score, right? But they might end up 117 all out. But you've got to back what you do, because if you don't back what you do, you don't do the other thing. So you're going to end up with 147. What good is that? It's no good to anybody, especially when you have these batters who have these impressive strike rates. When you look at their record and you look down the right-hand side where it says strike rate column. So every single one, and it doesn't matter who you're naming, whether it's Shikhar Dhawan in the last 2 or 3 years, unbelievably good. Johnny Bairstow as an opener, really good. Mayank Agarwal, Rajapaksa, Livingston. So there you go. What else do you need? So what does that say? Play that way. Let's see what happens when you play that way. And if you succeed, I don't think there's a side that can hang with them. So yeah, they've got to go that way.